Hello, my baby gorillas! And it's good to see you all. Let's get straight into this. Make sure we're on here. Hold on. Come back here. Pinocchio Sturgeon. Oh, fantastic. That's going to be great. Am I live? Oh my goodness. I can't even tell if I'm live yet. Come on. Stupid thing. Oh my goodness. My phone's playing Mary Havoc. Oh, I'm live. Oh, let's me just move this round here. Very exciting stuff. Oh. Oh, can't wait. Oh, let's start with this. I thought this was great. Well, I'll answer your questions because some of them look quite good. I decided to get dressed up for you guys. I hope there will be a no confidence vote. Shushu. I hope there will be a no confidence vote against Sturgeon and Swinney, although usually they will worm their way out of it. Well, though I think there'll definitely be one against John Swinney, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Uh, John Swinney, I think, is going to definitely get it, and we'll go into the reasons why. John Swinney is going to get it. Pinocchio Sturgeon. Wonder if Davy got a reply from her constituency office. I did get a reply from her constituency office, Marion. I did get, and they did phone back, and so did the petitions office send me an email. Funnily enough, after a broadcast, you would think people were watching me. I know that this channel is being suppressed anyway, but they've got to be careful because I'm going to be in politics and I may eventually get elected. So the people in the States need to be careful. You wouldn't grace herself. She wouldn't grace herself. She's too important for the rest of us. I don't think that's right, Michael. I think what it is that for the SNP, she's seen as an electoral asset, and they won't want to move her out of her office because if they move her, they may. There's not really anybody of her ilk, political ilk. I don't think she's that great a politician, to be brutally honest, but she's certainly popular. So she's a popular politician rather than a good politician. And I don't think they've got anybody behind her that's of a similar calibre. She wouldn't grace herself. She's too important for the rest of us. So I don't think, even if she's found guilty, that she's going to resign for the reason I've just told you, which is going to make her look like a tyrant, which is going to make her look like somebody who is not following the ministerial code and doing what it said on the ministerial code or in the ministerial code and resigning. Hiya, pal. How you doing, Marion? You okay? The Greens make me sick. Yeah, they're a very bad party, Teresa. Very bad. They're a gimp party as well. But what they are is a Marxist party kidding on their environmentalists. So what they do is they hide their underlying Marxism with their environmentalism. Now, their environmentalism I can go on board with. So I don't mind wind power. I don't have a problem with wind and sea power. I think we should have a variety of different power sources in Scotland. But so the power doesn't go out. But I wouldn't just have it all in green energy. But I would try and lower the greenhouse gases. However, we can plant trees, and Nigel Farage has alluded to that as well, planting more trees. We can take personal responsibility of the David Ballantyne Plant a Tree Day. And that we so and so Harvey, Moby and the Marxists, that's what they're called, should be put out to pasture. Yeah, Patrick's actually not a bad politician, to be brutally honest, but because of his politics, that's the issue. No green politics to be seen, only a yellow streak down his backbone. Well, he's actually quite a nice guy. He's a bit like Moby and actually quite a nice guy, but yeah, I wouldn't be voting for him because underlying they're a Marxist party, the Greens. Patrick Harvey proving himself of the Green Gnome we all thought he was. What happened? Did I miss something? Did they have the vote and the Greens backed him? Or did they? I didn't see this. Hold on, have I missed something? Climate Marxists, yeah, that's right. The Green Marxists, yeah, that's right. I have plenty of wind power. I bet you do, mate. What's the odds on Swinney becoming the next Rangers manager? The trans party won't support a vote of no confidence. Well, I don't know if I missed something. Oh, it's getting green light. So we'll have a wee look at this. Oh, in the Scotsman. Oh, another one of my predictions coming true as usual. Oh, honestly, I should be betting. I would be making a fortune if I could get a bookmaker to take my political bets, wouldn't I? It's unbelievable how much I get it right. Carol Benjamin, who's an excellent YouTuber, if you're not on the lotuseaters.com and go and look at Carol's stuff. Carol is brilliant, absolutely great guy. He's a lovely fella down there. Him and Callum and Johnny are all awesome guys as well. He is a great, much better than me, political analyst. He really goes into detail, which I don't. I deliberately don't, but I don't go into detail about a lot of things. I deliberately try and keep it light because I'm trying to pitch to a certain audience. But Carol's absolutely fantastic. But Carol finds it very difficult to predict politics, whereas I don't. I always get it nearly on the money. So I don't have a problem predicting the politics. So here we go. Vote of no confidence in John Swinney over Alex Salmond inquiry gets the green light. So this is a goer. This was 3 hours ago on the 9th of March 2021. And this was by Gina Davison of the Scotsman. So this is us. We're getting ready to go here, guys. We're going over the top. We'll see if the Greens actually live up. Davy, the Greens aren't voting Tory no confidence motion. Well, the Greens just back to actual budget with the SNP. So I didn't know that. So they're obviously working hand in glove, the Greens and the SNP. Both GIMP parties, though. Let's not kid on. The SNP, the Labour Party, the Liberals are all GIMPs, and the Tories, part of the Tories as well. So I have plenty of wind power. What is the odds on Swinney becoming next Rangers man? The trans party won't. The trans party won't support. Listen, I'm a trans man to woman. My name's Daphne Valentine now. Daphne, and I'm a lesbian as well. So I'm Daphne Valentine, the lesbian. Davy, the Greens aren't voting the Tory no confidence motion, are they not, you? So they pulled out, have they? So they obviously they've been bought off in the budget. So they supported the budget and they've probably been bought off in the budget. That's probably what's happened as well. So not in the right side of history. So the SNP have destroyed the evidence, and now the Greens are now they're not the right side of history. So you know who not to vote for, them and the Labour Party and the Liberals and I would put the Conservatives further down in my list, but yeah. The Greens aren't voting Tory no confidence motion in Sturgeon. At least Greens might vote against Swinney, but they aren't voting Sturgeon out. Interesting. Yeah, well, I think Swinney could go anyway. Swinney will be no problem anyway. Swinney has to go, but Swinney's just a sacrificial lamb, and they'll probably bring him back in. He's been in and out the cabinet for that long. I don't know what. It's about time we have new faces in the Parliament. And keeping up, wee man. Are you fantastic, Darren? Good man. Lorry load of toilet rolls heading for Holyrood tomorrow. I bet they are, mate. I bet they are. So let's crack on here. You've just been STV, no trans party backings. Right, here we go. Oh, there she is. There's Wee Nippy. Wee Nippy. Oh, Wee Nippy.
Sending your idea out into the world. Create something brilliant with the help of GoDaddy Guides. Don't stop now. Get started for free at GoDaddy.com.
Would you please raise your right hand, First Minister, and repeat after me?
I'm not going to tell any lies.
I solemnly, sincerely and truly declare and affirm that I will tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
I solemnly, sincerely and truly declare and affirm that I will tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Thank you, and I would now ask the First Minister to make an opening statement, please.
Thank you, Convener. The spotlight shone on historic workplace harassment in late 2017 was long overdue. It was absolutely right at that time for my government.
This kid coming from a childless alleged lesbian, that she's only talking about harassment. What about men who have been falsely accused of sexual crimes that they haven't done? What happens to them? Do they get compensated? Or is it just the woman? You can see if she is a lesbian that she's just focusing on the women, not actually everybody.
To review its processes, consider any weaknesses and gaps in them.
Yeah, you just get found an unlawful prosecution by the actual. You found an unlawful prosecution by a judge and jury. So you've already been unlawful. So you've obviously deliberately or accidentally mishandled the complaints procedures anyway, which we already know.
And put in place a procedure that would allow complaints, including those of a historic nature, to be investigated.
All right. So what about historic false allegations? Are we going to have that? Are we going to have men's rights protected? Or is it just for the women because allegedly you're a lesbian?
When complaints were made about Alex Salmond, it was also absolutely right that the government took them seriously and subjected them to investigation.
Yeah, but he was found innocent of all the serious crimes. There was allegations that some of the people weren't even there at the place where they had the crimes. So what are you going to say about that? There was allegations. So why are we not getting polygraph tests in to actually find out whether or not that these are false or not?
An individual's profile, status or connections should not result in complaints of this nature being ignored or swept under the carpet.
Yeah, well, so that goes for you as well then, obviously. So if there's any allegations of orchestration of you setting up Alex Salmond, then I would think that that's very serious. I think we should have bills in for the orchestration of false sexual allegations against somebody as well. From the orchestrator and the individual that's made the false allegations. Swinney is collateral damage. Sure, you're quite right. That's right. I can't get these to show what is going on. Come on. What about the fat man covering up the SNPs? I'll come to the guy that said she makes me feel sick. Hate her stupid lying face. Well, I don't think she's a good. I mean, I'm surprised she's still getting the kudos just now as a political leader, because I think now we've sort of seen through what she is and what she's not now. I think it's becoming increasingly clear.
Carpet. That in this case it was a former First Minister does not change that.
So that counts for you as well then. So we want to know where the money's gone. So I think a forensic governmental accountant needs to go through the books.
The procedure that was adopted in late 2017 in the wake of the Me Too concerns was drafted by civil servants, largely independently of me. However, I was...
Wasn't me, nothing to do with me, nothing. Look over there, I'm not in charge of anything. I'm not where the buck stops. Somebody else, wasn't me.
Kept abreast of its development, and I did sign it off. As a result of a mistake that was made, a very serious mistake in
they found you having done something unlawful.
The investigation of the complaints against Alex Salmond, 2 women were failed.
Well, they weren't failed because they went to court and then they were found that the allegations that they made were not criminal. So in what way were they failed? They were actually given the chance. I think Alex Salmond's been failed and they haven't done polygraph tests, and we haven't found out if these victims are liars and should be in jail, along with potentially you for orchestrating it.
And taxpayers' money was lost.
By you.
I deeply regret that.
Yeah, well, and so did your council when you weren't giving them the information that they requested. Oh, I'm busy, Mum. So, yeah, back to the. Oh, I forgot even what she was saying there. Just gargling rubbish.
I deeply regret that. And taxpayers' money was lost. I deeply regret that.
Yeah, it was your fault.
Although I was not aware of the error at the time, I am the head of the Scottish Government, and so
Yes, and where the buck should stop, and that's why you should resign.
I want to take this opportunity to say sorry to the two women involved and to the wider public.
But they went through the natural process. In fact, they didn't even go through the internal process. That was only what they were looking to do. They were forced to actually make criminal proceedings against Alex Salmond, and then they were found not to have any merit. So what failed? What was the failure? The only failure I can see is you, Miss Sturgeon.
I also accept without any reservation that my actions deserve to be scrutinised.
I think you deserve to resign. I think that's what you deserve to do after everything. It's not just one thing. It's not just one thing that you can isolate and say, oh, well, they destroyed some documents. They didn't take notes when there were meetings between Alex Salmond and Nicola Sturgeon. They didn't take notes between the government and the lawyers. They destroyed notes from the civil servants. Come on.
2 years ago, I volunteered for such scrutiny by referring matters relating to my contact with Alex Salmond to the independent advisor on the Ministerial Code, James Hamilton.
Now, I don't know who this James Hamilton is, but I don't know if they've employed him to come over, which could be a complete stitch-up in itself. I don't know who the one that instigated who brought James Hamilton over from Ireland is.
Mr Hamilton is conducting an independent investigation and I await his findings.
But you've already used the Crown Office to redact the information that Alex Salmond said that you weren't you lied to the Parliament by saying that you knew on the 29th, which is why you set up the meeting through Jeff Aberdeen with Alex Salmond at your home on the 2nd or 3rd of April. But you also knew about what happened in Glasgow Airport months before. But you said the first thing that you knew was on the 3rd or 2nd or 3rd of April, which was a lie again. That's why you've got a big Pinocchio nose. That's why we're all coming to see you in the film, Pinocchio Sturgeon. I'll talk about him in a minute. The fat man got complaints too. I'll come to the fat man in a minute.
His investigation is not being conducted in public, though, of course, his conclusions will be published.
I think it's you that's getting the juries out in public just now.
As a result of that, he is able to hear and consider material that, because of a contempt of court order, this committee cannot, including, as I understand it, from people who were actually party to discussions that others who were not party to those discussions are seeking to attest to. Mr Hamilton has offered no commentary on his investigation, and nor will I. However, this committee and the public are entitled to hear from me directly on the matters under consideration. So today I will do my best to answer every question asked of me directly.
Except 50 don't know. Wasn't me? Somebody else, can't remember. Oh, that was great. Oh, it was brilliant.
And in as much detail as I can.
Oh dear, that's a good one. There's another one.
Firstly, on the 8th of January 2019, I volunteered to Parliament my contact with Alex Salmond. I stated as follows. On 2nd April 2018, he informed me about the complaints against him. I will explain why I stand by that statement. Second,
I can't watch. You need to wait. Watch, please. I've only got a minute and 30 seconds to go.
Set out why I did not immediately record the April 2nd meeting within the Scottish Government, a decision based entirely on my desire to protect the independence and the confidentiality of the process. Thirdly, I will outline why I believe it was right that I did not intervene in the investigation when I...
But you were meant to refer these people to the police arbitrators to find out whether or not this should the victims should have gone to court in the first place. So, but you didn't do that. You just went, screw the arbitration, we're going to put them right to court, which I thought was a great question with Margaret Mitchell, because I didn't even know there was a police arbitration. She knew 4 months before. That's right, she knew. Yeah, that's right, that's exactly right, Shabby.
I became aware of it, even though Alex Salmond asked me to do so. And finally, although the mistake made in the conduct of the investigation meant ultimately that the action for judicial review could not be defended, I will...
And you, when you weren't giving your legal counsel the information, you were holding that back, not to mention the redactions from the Crown Office and Alex Salmond statement that can't be used in the inquiries because it's been redacted by the Crown Office. And yeah, I mean, it's quite absolutely incredible.
To demonstrate that the decisions taken at each stage of it were legally sound. I'm sure...
No, it wasn't. You then released the legal advice through Swinney in a piecemeal process, and the most damning stuff came after you've given this evidence. Do you think we're all stupid?
We will return to all of these matters in detail. However, I want to focus in these opening remarks...
You're certainly becoming a tyrant, Marion.
...on the issues around my contact with Alex Salmond on 2nd April and my contact 3 days earlier with his former Chief of Staff. Alec has claimed in his testimony to the committee that the meeting in my home on the 2nd of April took place with a shared understanding on the part of all the participants of the issues for discussion.
But that's not what Jeff Aberdeen says. And not only that, Jeff Aberdeen's also said that somebody from your inner cabal leaked the names of the people, one of the people who was the complainants. And there's 3 witnesses to that. There's Alex Salmond and 2 other witnesses to agree with that corroborate it, and you can't get any.
In other words, that he turned up to the meeting believing I already knew everything.
Man, honestly. Guilty. Demand for the vote by the Scottish Conservatives as a result of the delay in legal advice to the Holyrood Committee inquiry on the government's handling of sexual harassment complaints against Alex Salmond has been approved by all party parliamentary business bureau. Oh, that must include the Greens. The 30-minute debate will start at 2:50 in the second vote of no confidence VONC Mr. Swinney has faced during his COVID pandemic, but yet this time I think he's off ski. The previous one last August, which saw him criticised in his role as Education Secretary, which again they're not releasing the education report until June, so they're conveniently not doing it until after that, after the election. Was defeated when he was supported by the Greens by voting 67 votes to 58. This time, Mr. Swinney is for the high jump. A previous threat of a VONC and Mr. Swinney because of the delays to the legal advice was withdrawn last week after documents were handed over to the committee. However, Scottish Conservative leader Douglas Ross said he believed Mr. Swinney had manipulated the flow of information which has interfered with the committee inquiry, which is correct. He said Mr. Swinney had claimed that the document showed the government did not ignore advice from council, which was contradicted by the very documents he published. Mr. Ross said Mr. Swinney's position had become untenable. He has disrespected the Scottish Parliament, repeatedly, blatantly withheld evidence from a parliamentary inquiry and tried to mislead Parliament. The public. Us, you. He had more than enough chances to be transparent, but his actions are getting murkier and murkier and inexcusable as the weeks go on. All correct. The Scottish Greens, who had said they would back the VONC last week, have now decided not to support the latest attempt to remove Swinney. So I would suggest that if something happened in the budget that's just been passed, because the budget, the Greens ratified the SNP budget, in some way that they'll have got some sweetener that'll have actually allowed the Greens to work with the SNP. So they'll have probably been bought off. So that's what's happened. That's what you guys are writing about just now. Nicky's sister is absolute cringe on Facebook, is it? So, co-leader Patrick Harvey said, co-leader, absolute gimps. The Scottish Greens will always defend the integrity of the Scottish Parliament. Another bunch of bullshitters. And that is why we back to call for John Swinney to release the evidence that harassment committee and Parliament had asked for. The evidence clearly showed the government had failed the women who came forward, and this, rather than the opportunistic political theatre, should be the focus. The Tories called it a screech U-turn last week, but this week they want a political scap to show for it. So this prediction may be wrong then, because the Greens, being the spineless little pushes they are, have actually now bottled it and are not prepared to see Swinney get the chop. But the reality is the problem being bought off. The reality is the problem being bought off. I don't agree the women are the focus. They clearly lied. Well, I don't know if they lied or not, but I think we should. I don't want to prejudge them, but I think we need to get a polygraph test to find out if they lied. Certainly, Alex Salmond has been found not guilty. Nicola Sturgeon continually going on about him being guilty, or he might not have done anything criminal, but it was still harassment. So who's she to judge that? So it's clear from this naked attempt to undermine our democratic institutions and from the line of questioning from their committee members that the Scottish Conservatives have no interest in making sure the women are supported from coming forward with complaints in future. Yeah, bring in polygraph tests, that will support the women. So if they pass the polygraph test and the perpetrator or the other victim passes fails the polygraph test, then we know. So we bring in polygraph tests. We can get both the complainer and the complainant to actually take the polygraph test. For them, this vote of no confidence is a pathetic political game just weeks ahead of the election, in which they have nothing positive to offer the people of Scotland. The Scottish Conservatives also threatened a vote of no confidence in the First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon. A spokesperson for Ms Sturgeon has previously accused the Scottish Conservatives of being hysterical and opportunistic and of playing a political game. The spokesperson said thousands of documents, including legal documents, had been handed over to the committee and that every question had been answered. Oh dear. I actually think there's other documents. So, oh my God, what the hell is going on there? John Swinney. Let me just see if I can get this up. Greens will say John Swinney. Oh, I don't know if it's one of these. I don't know if I kept it open. No, all right. Right, so let me just get. No, keep that on. So, what have we got? Oh, feud. Scan size, yeah, we're going the right way. Oh, there we go, here we go. MSN. So here we go with this then. So, man, honestly, they must think we're all stupid. Edinburgh Council are putting postal vote signs on city lampposts now, are they? Well, they're also wanting to tear down the statue of Adam Smith, one of the greatest Scots of all time, if not the greatest, about his books on. And they've also pulled down Hume's at Edinburgh Uni, Hume's name on the doors at Edinburgh Uni. And they're now getting an investigation into slavery and people connected with the slave trade. It's funny though that they're putting up mosques who actually have a slave trader as a prophet, but that's obviously okay who actually still to this day engage in slave trading and in sexual raping of people through sexual slave trades, and they do that to this day because that's what the prophet did. So people who follow it in a literal sense, that can happen, and our government has been complicit in that. And yet, they're worried about what happened hundreds of years ago. Are we going to go back to the Romans? Are we going to go back to Italy and say, you think you need to compensate us for taking Scots back to Rome? What are we going to do? Are we going to compensate the Vikings? And we're going to go to Norway and say, oh, you took people from Scotland, we need compensation? It's just absolutely ridiculous. But I mean, this is just the loony left. This is just the gimps from the Labour Party and the SNP. Swinney, no records exist of Sturgeon meeting with lawyers over Salmond. And that was by Tom Eden, PA Scotland. And this is PA Media on Microsoft News. Records of the meeting between Nicola Sturgeon, Permanent Secretary Leslie Evans should be sacked, sack all of them, and the Scottish Government Legal Counsel about the investigation into Alex Salmond cannot be found. Oh, probably in the shredder. Can the committee ask the lawyers to provide minutes of the meeting? Yeah, they probably could, but there's something even better than that that's coming up, Marion. Good one that. Free bus pass for 22-year-old. Aye, that's good. What are you saying, Sherman? Oh, there you are. There. Still in SNP Council going to start charging £35 to take garden waste from April. Time to get rid of the shower. Yeah. So here we go, right? So Swinney has confirmed. Great stuff. So the Deputy First Minister has told the Holyrood inquiry into the government's unlawful investigation of Mr Salmond that he is unable to provide the details that the committee have asked for. Oh, God. It must have a big shredder. That's what the shredders were for. Mr Swinney, who is facing a vote of no confidence after refusing Parliament's demands to release legal advice for almost 4 months, had said the government did not have records, recorded minutes of meetings, didn't have them, don't know what you're talking about, with its external counsel about the former First Minister's ultimate successful legal challenge. The current First Minister and Miss Evans, Scotland's most senior civil servant, held meetings with external legal advisors about the judicial review on the 2nd of November and the 13th of November 2018, according to evidence provided to the committee. MSPs have asked the government to release the official records of the meetings. So that's what you were asking. So they've asked to release the meetings, official records of the meetings. But Mr Swinney has insisted the government has not identified any records of minutes having been prepared or previously held. So basically, they're not keeping any records. They didn't keep any records, or they destroyed records, or Leslie Evans has destroyed her minutes book, and Nicola Sturgeon didn't keep any meetings or minutes for the meetings. And now John Swinney, between the government and the legal entity, haven't provided any parliamentary minutes. So and records for the meeting, so we can't actually then find out. This is how sneaky this government is, and they're meant to be transparent to you. They're meant to be transparent so that you know what they're doing. This isn't their money. This isn't. They're not playing a wee game amongst themselves. They have to be responsible to you. You're the taxpayer. Thank I stayed in a flat. Yeah. Clackmanning Council have already done that last year. So, he added, officials have identified a small number, a small number of contemporaneous email exchanges referencing these meetings. This includes exchanges following the meeting on the 2nd of November and emails ahead of the meeting on the 13th of November 2018, attended by the First Minister and Permanent Secretary. These exchanges made clear that the focus of the meetings was in discussing and agreeing the external council adjustments to the pleadings for the judicial review. So the lawyers had already said they were going to pull out by December. And they would have probably pulled out quicker had the government not drip fed the information to them to actually show that they didn't have a winnable case. Which also plays into what Alex Salmond said at his interview with the committee, where he said that he thought there was a plot to actually frame him, and that had been prolonged, so that the civil case had been prolonged, and the government hadn't given them information. I mean, it's sneaky shit stuff from the SNP. Mr. Swinney said the government would urgently make checks on court orders and data compliance, and then try to publish the email exchanges as soon as possible this week. And the fact that the Greens have pushed it out, like the yellow, they should be called the Yellows, not the Greens, is this for this vote. Just shows you the contempt. You shouldn't be voting Green anyway. Bye, cranky. Well, I don't know. I actually now think she's likely to hold on, which is going to make everybody furious because she's guilty and she's going to hold on. She's going to be like a tyrant now because she's not going to resign for actually what she should be resigning for, which will make her tyrannical. The only pull out is Peter Morrell. The committee is meeting on Tuesday morning to discuss the legal advice and whether it has sufficient information. A motion of no confidence in the Deputy First Minister is expected to be debated in Parliament this week. Donald Cameron, MSP. I'm acting as counsel for the legal for the Scottish Government. A consultant. Everyone take notes. It's inconceivable these minutes do not exist. Let me just read that again. So Donald Cameron, MSP. I act as counsel for the Scottish Government at consultations. Everyone takes notes. It's inconceivable these notes don't exist. But yet you've then got Leslie Evans burning her notes as well. The Greens are a disgrace. They are gardening wing of the SNP. Yeah, Moby and the Marxists. The Greens are stealing the public money being in Parliament. Well, they're certainly doing something with the public money. So that's very interesting, Donald Cameron there. I don't know who Donald Cameron is. Graham Grant, John Swinney and the missing minutes. During the committee's oral evidence session on the 3rd of March 2021, members asked about the minutes of consultations with Council, in particular on the 2nd and 13th of November 2018. Although the attendees are known, the committee is aware of these, and the committee is aware of these. We do not hold any minutes of these meetings. The products of these meetings were adjustments to the Scottish legal position that follow these consultations and have already been shared by the committee as they are reflected in the pleadings already provided. So basically, they're covering up the underlying information. Mr. Swinney confirmed on Friday that no minutes have been found for the November meetings. Scottish Conservative MSP Donald Cameron said, "I've acted as counsel for the Scottish Conservative, Scottish Government, and consultations. At consultations, everyone takes notes. It is inconceivable these notes don't exist." The government's lawyer had already warned ministers of difficulties in the case prior to the meetings, with paper showing on the September the 26th, 2018, senior and junior counsels advised of a real risk that the court may be persuaded by the legal challenge attacking various aspects of the investigation process. By the 17th of December, however, Roddy Dunlop QC and solicitor advocate Christine O'Neill said they were firmly of the view that at least one of the challenges mounted by the practitioner, Mr. Salmond, will be successful. They added that we simply wish all concerned, and we include the First Minister in this, to be absolutely certain that they wished us to plough on regardless. See, this is where Alex Salmond said that they were using this as subterfuge to stop, to then bring in the criminal charges to screw up Alex Salmond. So they wanted this as a sort of smokescreen to prevent that, and that's why they wanted them to plough on regardless. Davey, looking good, man. Thanks very much, Johnny boy. With the defence of the case, the Scottish Government conceded that the case in January 2019, with the Court of Session ruling it had acted unlawfully in its handling of the complaints. Holyrood's Committee on the Scottish Government handling of harassment complaints had also asked Mr. Swinney about any external legal advice received after the Lord Advocate wrote on December the 31st, 2018, about conceding the case. Mr. Swinney said that although there had been extensive engagements between the Council and the Scottish Government's lawyers in early January 2019, there was no formal written notes. Oh, but I don't think that's where the problem's going to come. Let's have a wee look where the problem's going to come. Let's see if I can find it. What is it? There he is. There's in the Scotsman again. So Alex Salmond Inquiry Committee doesn't understand why notes of key legal meetings were not taken. Oh, that's convenient, Connor Matchett in the Scotsman. The Holyrood inquiry into the botched handling of harassment complaints against Alex Salmond has expressed its extreme frustration at the nature of the Scottish Government's disclosure of legal advice. The letter from convener Linda Fabinini to John Swinney comes after the Deputy First Minister confirmed to the committee that no minutes were held on key meetings with Council in November. The committee said that this was extremely frustrating. That evidence sought by the committee for months was being sourced and published in the final few days of the inquiry. The body said questions would have been asked of senior civil servants, the First Minister and Lord Advocate, had the information been available earlier. Members also expressed their disbelief at the suggestion no notes for the meetings involving Council were taken. The letter states the committee is concerned that the Scottish Government Scottish officials such as instructing solicitor, were not required to produce notes of meetings with councils, including of decisions taken. In addition to the need for transparency to enable scrutiny, the committee does not understand how in the interest of good governance, the Scottish Government would not create and keep records of such crucial meetings. I mean, it's just incredible. That's not what we're trying to find. Ah, here we go. No, it's not. Documents revised. Ah, this is that, I think. Here we go, here we go. This is that. This is the chat. This is the exciting bit. I think this is where they're going to get them. I think they're going to get them. The Crown Office give messages to MSPs which Alex Salmond says shows high-level plot. Great journalist, Kathleen Nutt, lovely lady, fantastic journalist. Let me read that again because this is exciting. I think that a crime, and I think it's in the crime itself, withholding information and destroying it should be, and not taking the notes in the first place. I might make myself a Guerilla TV t-shirt. Do you have your permission, Davey? I charge on mate. I'm going to do Guerilla TV stuff as well. I'm going to get wee baby gorillas for all you guys as well. You can buy and support the channel. I prefer Lucasade the original. Yeah, I don't like Lucasade the original. John Park, what about a pair of Guerilla TV thongs? Brilliant. Right, so listen up. Guerilla in the brain. Crown Office give messages to MSPs which Alex Salmond says shows high-level plot. Oh my goodness. Let me read that one more time because that's very important. Crown Office give messages to MSPs which Alex Salmond, and Alex Salmond's been very, very coy and very, very careful in what it says show high-level plot. If that does show a high-level plot, then people could be going to jail. Because I would suggest that orchestrating false sexual allegations and trying to destroy a man's life and put him in jail should be criminal. If it's not, it should be a specific crime to actually do that. Holyrood Harassment Complaints Committee have now been handed. Sorry, let me do that again. Holyrood's Harassment Complaints Committee have now been handed the Viet Cong WhatsApp group, because they don't know what day is in Latin. Messages from the Crown Office that Alex Salmond has claimed proves there was a high-level plot by Nicola Sturgeon's allies to ruin him and even send him to jail. Criminal, not resigning issues, criminal issues. That is, everybody in that can be identified should then be put in jail. They should be up in charges, put in jail. Wee Nippy has already said that. Wee Nippy said that I was just looking at Murdo saying hit by backlash over Rangers jibe and Nicola Sturgeon. Nicola Sturgeon said there was blood in Rangers supporters' hands for going and celebrating, obviously, Rangers winning the league. So she said there was blood in their hands. Mouth's really dry today, guys. Sorry, apologise. So, if that does show a plot, then there's people that will have to go to jail. 100% people will have to go to jail. At the end of his oral evidence to MSPs, the former First Minister suggested if the MSPs could not get the information from the Crown Office, they could seek a court order and force his lawyers to hand over the material. So that's what he said at the end. Very clever. What a bomb. That Alex Salmond said if the Crown Office was not prepared to give the WhatsApp messages that Alex Salmond had already received. The committee, Fabinini committee, could put in a court order to actually have the messages taken from his lawyers, which they were prepared to give, which is going to be absolutely fascinating. There's so many things here with the corroboration of Jeff Aberdeen, a statement about the naming of the alleged victim to somebody else, which is again probably a crime. The orchestration of false sexual allegations to destroy Alex Salmond's life must be a crime. Yeah, jail a lot of them, mate. Yeah, and yeah, that's it. Especially after David's picture on Twitter last night. Who's my picture on Twitter last night? Oh yeah, that's right. There's quite a lot of filthy pictures on Twitter last night. So yeah. Oh no, did we not get any more of that? What happened to the rest of that? That was going to be quite an interesting article. I've got to subscribe. Oh my god, subscribe £2 a month to support us. Is that all she's got? Buy £96. Oh, I'm sorely tempted. Oh, here we go. Is that it? Oh, I thought they might show me there. Let's look at the comments. If I'm reading this correctly, it was not the FM who plotted against him, so there is no way she should resign. Well, Fiona, I think if you think that everybody else plotted underneath the First Minister and Nicola Sturgeon had nothing to do with it, you must be on the crack. BLM, murder. Murder. Right, very good. Sturgeon signed off the strategy, so she was entirely complicit. First Minister of Scotland. Alistair's obviously a clever man. What strategy? She signed off on Ash. Your response is conveniently vague and, in fact, implies Nicola Sturgeon signed off on a plot against Salmond. Correct, that's exactly what she did. Give us some clarity and some evidence. Well, you only have to look at the fact that she's using the Crown Office to redact a statement from Salmond saying that she broke the ministerial code, not to protect the witnesses, just to protect her. That's one aspect. There's so many that I would be here all night listening. I may actually do that, take it right through the timeline. Do your own research. It's freely available. For example, Miss Sturgeon told us she kept informed by such as Leslie Evans and signed off her strategy to win the war. Very interesting. Yon, you have no evidence. Yeah, there is evidence there, but some people keep burning it, shredding it, not producing it, redacting it. So I mean, there's only, and we all know this. It's not just the fact. If this was like an internal, if this had been held internal within the SNP or within the Parliament, and the greater public didn't know this, then that'd be one thing. But we all think the Parliament's acting like a bunch of scumbags. Everybody, all of my baby gorillas believe that, don't you, baby gorillas? And all of my baby gorillas believe that they can see right through this. They can see the way that they're doing it. It's not debatable what's happening. All of the things that we've already said are for a fact. We all know this for a fact. Burning door. I mean, really? Can you provide evidence that NAS was aware? There was no chance that Nicola Sturgeon was not aware, let's put it that way, of the phrase win the war being used by Evans, never mind justifying the accusations of NAS signing off in the war. I'd love to hear it. Oh, well, I think if you correlate all of the evidence in a ball, it's not all circumstantial. Definitely, it's not. It adds up. It's not. If you had part of it, then yes, I can understand. You could have potential reasonable doubt. Not with everything that we know about what's actually happening. That's that's what's annoying me. The SNP shout for evidence and then they suppress it, destroy it, redact it. I mean, they do. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Where's the evidence? Oh, when I'm setting fire to it. Fantastic. Oh, there's no evidence now. But in front of everybody else. I mean, it's in front of everybody. We can all see this. Alistair Stephen Hosey, when asked if she signed off anything, Miss Sturgeon said yes. It was me. I did it, but I'm going to lie. That's why we're all going to watch her in Panto. I hope we get the bombshell result. Brexit for the Scottish May elections. Yeah, well, I think you need to vote smart then. You need to vote for the Scottish Libertarian Party, guys, or the vote 1 and 2 for Brexit, the new Reform Party, Reform UK. So vote 1 and 2 for those two. I don't know who else is standing. I'll have a look through and tell you who I would vote for and how many with the transferable vote. You might be limited on the first past the post one, but I'll give you my best advice on that as well. I need to see who's on the ballot. Sturgeon Sturgeon's evidence to the inquiry on YouTube is freely available, and her lies on today's Wings Over Scotland video. Oh my goodness! Oh, unbelievable! The procedure has not been found wanting. The way in which the investigation was conducted was at fault. Of course, it was deliberately at fault. It's been deliberately done to prevent the observation by the public. Oh, anyway, I wish I could read more of Miss Nutt, and listen to more of what she actually said. It would be quite interesting to see if there was more of that article. But that's actually fascinating. So now I think Nicola Sturgeon is going to be recalled to the committee, because if this evidence is substantial, then we're going to have to find out what's in it. And if there is proof of orchestration, then people need to go to jail. If you've orchestrated false sexual allegations and the smearing of Alex Salmond, you need to go to jail. Simple as. So, and you can answer this, guys. Let me just put down your comments. No public appetite for the resignation, Sturgeon says. My resignation. No public appetite for my resignation, Sturgeon says. Sure about that, Nicola? Comments. I Need Cromwell, sung in the style of I Need a Hero. Nicola Sturgeon appeared to have developed a nasty case of amnesia. Yeah, we think she's got dementia during her 8-hour stint in front of the Scottish Parliament's committee and parliamentary committee's inquest into her handling of harassment claims made against her mentor Alex Salmond. The pound shop William Wallace claimed as a pound shop. Oh dear, claimed a staggering 100 times that she either didn't know, couldn't recall, didn't know where I am, what's my name, don't know anything. Who is this? Patrick Christie. Talk radio, is it? Patrick Christie's Talk Radio. Okay, thank you for Microsoft News. Pound shop William Wallace. He wasn't sure or couldn't remember various issues surrounding her alleged involvement in the bungled salmon smear campaign that ultimately cost the taxpayer, well, it's probably nearly £1 million. Oh, it never gets old. Let's watch it again. Oh dear, come on, get out of the way. What's happening to that thing? Right, here we go. We ready?
From it, not to, I don't know. I don't know where the link.
What's your name?
Not to the best of my recollection. I don't know the answer to that.
What's
question.
your name?
I don't know whether that was something we considered. I do not know.
Do you know where you are?
I am making assumptions here, and I do not recall. I don't remember. I am not aware of my recollection.
What's your name?
Of the conversation with Jeff is not as vivid as I.
Do you know where you are, Nicola?
I wish it was. I can't recall it. Remember if you told me the name. I can't remember the exact phraseology of it. I can't recall, and I would need to check. I can't remember if that's the technical term. And I don't have a recollection. I don't recall. If memory serves me correctly, I might be getting the 1 and 2 round the wrong way here. I can't tell you. I don't know of anything that was that. I can't recall all the ins and outs of this. Would have to check the precise dates here. I'd have to check the detail out. So I cannot sit here and say definitively that none of that happened. I mean, I can't sit here and tell you exactly on what day. I didn't know. I am not in possession at this point, and all the information. I don't have the dates of that.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I can't give you specific answers to that right now. I don't know. Can't immediately recall exactly what it said. I don't know. I didn't know for certain. I didn't know it was certain. Didn't remember this meeting, and I asked myself, how could I have, forgotten that? I don't know. So I don't know. I don't recall us trying to think when was it I found out about this. I can't remember. I don't know. What I don't recall is.
It doesn't get old, does it? It just never gets old. And I think we all agree that she's definitely telling the truth. I think that's something we all agree on, doesn't it? The baby gorillas. We all are 100% in agreement that we think she's telling the truth. The First Minister seemingly also can't remember the claim that the last Scottish independence referendum held in 2014 was supposed to be a once in a generation event. Convenient amnesia strikes again. These guys are watching the Guerilla TV channel, aren't they? They're watching the Guerilla TV. When was this guy done? This been done after my dementia thing, wasn't it? 13 hours ago, he's watched the Guerilla TV channel and then got amnesia rather than dementia. I think she's got dementia rather than amnesia. I think that means her memory comes back. Convenient amnesia strikes again. For the first time in 22 consecutive polls, Salvation data now shows the support for the Scottish independence hangs in the balance. It's now 50-50. Even if the SNP is predicted to win a narrow majority in the Scottish Parliament at the election on May the 6th, the Scottish Tory leader Ruth Davison is a tub thumping orator. Yeah, we all love Ruthie Baby for her contribution to the Scottish politics. She's been rather good orator. I'm very surprised she's going down to the House of Lords. That seems a bit crazy. I think she was still in her prime as a politician, so I don't think she had to leave. The left seemed to be riddled with dementia. Sleepy Joe. I think Joe's just old, isn't he? I mean, that's it. But to have somebody in that condition as your president is just absolutely unbelievable. They'll be getting a skeleton next time. They'll be saying, "Oh, vote for this guy." And now nodding, knocking, and circle back. I know, circle back. Brilliant. Oh, circle back. Just not on top of the game at all. At least Ruthie Baby's on top of her game, who has been more inclined to operate south of the border, may well have found herself in Downing Street by now. She pinned Sturgeon to the mast in Hollywood by pushing a simple point. Will Sturgeon resign if the inquiry rules show that she broke the ministerial code? And the answer is essentially no. So she's going to ask herself, Nicola, I think you should resign. I don't. So I'm a bit of a tyrant. So she's just going to go down the road of being a tyrant. And that's what she's going to go down at. She's going to be known in history as wee Nippy the tyrant. The wee tin-pot tyrant. With Humza Useless and the Islamo-fascist as our justice minister. And that's how history, and the Greens are going to look like the yellows instead of the Greens. Big yellow streak down them. Not actually doing the right thing. So, it all catches up with you, especially politics. Politics just takes a bit of time, but it will all catch up. Sturgeon said there would be a discussion about it in the Scottish Parliament, and in line is already starting to emerge that even if she broke the ministerial code, oh dear, this is our leader. Oh my goodness, what a donkey. Even if she broke the ministerial code, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not resigning. I'm not going anywhere. I broke the ministerial code and I don't give a shit. Don't give a shit, you know. Don't give a shit, you know, we've destroyed documents. Do not give a shit that you know that we've tried to set up Alex Salmond for fake sexual allegations. Davey, people's comments are being deleted on your live stream. Yeah, buddy, I know that. I know they're talking about why are our messages getting deleted. Yeah, I think it's YouTube that's doing it. To be honest with you, I'm not. I don't delete anything unless it's one of those wee porn things, whatever it is. They send comments, but I don't delete any of your things. But I think the channel is being suppressed by YouTube and it's not growing as much as it should be. And also, I know that they're probably deleting your comments as well. So they know again they're shilling for Nicola Sturgeon as well. Probably what do you call it? Subscribing you as well. So that's why you need to watch for as well. But I don't delete your comments, guys. So these people are not freedom worshippers like myself. These guys are tyrants, and we know Nicola Sturgeon is a tyrant. I blame that scumbag Blair for all of this. Well, I think there's been a few that have been mucking about. I don't think Brown was much better either. Yeah, but there's been a few that have been absolute scumbags, to be honest with you. Sturgeon said there will be a discussion about about it in the Scottish Parliament, and in line is already starting to emerge that even if she has broken the code, there is no need for her to pack up her sporran and shuffle off into the political highlands because, get this, there is no appetite for it. Get out! Get out, get out, get out! Forget convention, forget decency, forget morality. There is no public appetite for it. This argument doesn't wash. There would be very little political appetite for National Treasure David Attenborough to go to prison if he committed a serious crime, but he'd have to because that's the rules and the rules matter. Of course they do. I mean, Henry McLeish went for a lot less than trying to set up your former mentor for false sexual allegations. Oh, come on. Come on. It's clown world. Of course it is. It's the authoritarian world. You need to stop voting for her, guys. You need to stop voting for the SNP. Very bad, very bad. There's something much bigger than public appetite at play here. Integrity, exactly. And Nicola Sturgeon doesn't have any. Do the Scots really want to be led to an independence by someone who, if the inquiry were to find her guilty, behaved like a tin pot dictator? Correct, correct. An authoritarian dictator, correct, and clung desperately to power. That's it. The latest poll revealed 36% of Scots view Miss Sturgeon less favourably. As I'm surprised it's only 36 as a result of the Salmond carry on, but a staggering 58% said it hadn't changed their minds. Wow. Why is this? Because Scots have drunk the tartan Kool-Aid. Nicola Sturgeon has fostered such a strong nationalistic. She hasn't fostered. She's not even a nationalist. She's fostered just this GIMP image, this quasi-globalist Islamo-Marxist party image. She's a GIMP. She's not a nationalist. Strong nationalist sentiment over the years that it became endemic. I think it's more stronger from the Marxism than anything else. This raises the important question: why is nationalism all right unless you're English? You be as nationalistic as you want, Mr. Englishman. It is okay for Sturgeon to accuse English people of bringing coronavirus over the border. Well, she's just mental, and we apologise for that. It's okay for her to allow an unhinged waving Mogg to shout abuse from motorway bridges at English cars driving up. Yeah, we apologise for that as well. That's disgraceful as well. It's okay to stoke up anti-English sentiment and promote a notion of otherness. Yeah, we don't agree with that either. So Unfortunately, she's a loon ball, and sometimes loon balls get elected. That's unfortunately the case. Never have and never have voted for the Scottish Sinn Féin. Scottish Sinn Féin. Maybe we should have called Sturgeon Coco the Clown. Coco the Clown. It's Clown World, huh? All I wrote was, "It's Clown World. Tell me what's wrong with that." Nothing's wrong with that mail on YouTube, right? I love reading your comments, pal. Which said, neither have I, and never will. Yeah, right. So you'll be voting Valentine. That's what you'll be doing. And all in all this nationalistic fervour, the Scots have lost sight of what independence means to Nicola Sturgeon. It means leaving financial bosom of Westminster and running into the open arms of the European Union. Yeah, because she's a globalist shill. Why? Well, it's certainly not out of some deep-seated principle that independence is fair and just. I am convinced it is because, firstly, Sturgeon has one eye on her pension placket while wanting to drag Scotland out of the UK, give Westminster a bloody nose, and then leave Edinburgh to claim her place in Brussels. Top table alongside other no-hoper chancellors and political disaster merchants the continent has to offer. That's correct. I like this guy. She will be right at home alongside the leaders of postage stamps like Luxembourg. Hey, don't be cheeky about Scotland, Luxembourg and Cyprus. In fact, given the current inquest taking place in Holyrood, coupled with the EU's notorious disdain for due process and democracy, she would probably fit in. Completely correct. She's a gimp, so she'll definitely fit in with all those other gimps in the EU. Secondly, I suspect Sturgeon knows that unless her proud independent nation is actually ruled by someone else, she will never have to carry the can for all its shortcomings. Yeah, we know our shortcomings, but I think with independence, you then have to take control of your own shortcomings. And Nicola Sturgeon wouldn't be the first minister who were independent. Under her tenure, Scotland has the worst drug addiction problem in Europe. She promised to close the attainment gap in education between the least and most fortunate. This has not happened. In January, the Scottish Ambulance Service put out an appeal to help their English counterparts, and Michael Gove has launched an inquiry of his own into SNP, has spent £200 million Westminster gave it to help prepare businesses for Brexit. All right, I see. Where is that money going, Nicola? We need to get a forensic accountant in there. All is not well under Sturgeon's leadership. You can say that again, and that is before we've even touched on the vaccine rollout, which until she decided to splurge on the number of first doses to fudge the figures, was the worst of all the UK nations. The sad reality is the Scottish public have been used as political pawns in Nicola Sturgeon's power-hungry game, which is correct. Boris Johnson must stand strong, laugh off calls for another Scottish independence, if anything, to protect the people of Scotland from crushing reality of waking up one day to find they live in a patch of land belonging to Brussels, loosely led by a woman who can't run a bath. Correct? What would Sturgeon have to say for herself when Scots realised she'd led them down the garden path? Correct? Well, she'd probably claim she couldn't remember doing it. Don't know what happened. Didn't know it was me or was it somebody else. Oh no, I can't remember. I've got Alzheimer's. Nicola Sturgeon unearthed comments risk putting Scotland's EU place in danger. Guys, hope you enjoyed that. Do you guys love it? Well, baby gorillas love it. Sexual nuisance party section. Do you want me to talk about fat Blackford? Or do you want to just leave it till tomorrow? Hamza's a racist. Yes, he is a racist, mate. Hamza is a racist. So do you want me to talk about Fat Blackford today, fat Blackford today, or do you want to leave it to tomorrow? Have you had enough? You had enough. Do you want me to crack on? Leave it to tomorrow. Is that a thumbs up for to leave it tomorrow? She'll walk off and leave the mess for something else to deal with. Right, listen, I'm going to leave it to tomorrow. So I'll talk about, remind me to my baby gorillas to talk about Pat Blackford and what the smearing there. And I've had you for an hour and 20 minutes. No, don't go. I love that. Warty Blackford, I'll do it tomorrow. Remind me to do it tomorrow. Keep going. Keep going. You guys can't get enough. No, I'm going to go. I'm tired and I need to get in my bed. It's now past my bedtime. It's 7 o'clock. Tomorrow, crack on. No, I'm not cracking on. I'm done. I've had enough. So, and I've got things to do. So, I'll do it tomorrow, though. I promise we'll do it tomorrow. Do it tomorrow, right? Give me my word. No, I'm not. Keep going. Keep going. Thanks, Dave. Thumbs down. Just think of how much excitement we'll get tomorrow. So, try and do it. I'll do it 6 o'clock tomorrow. I thought it's great. Is this a good time for you guys? Is this good? Do you enjoy? Is 6 o'clock a good time? What's the best time? Give me a time that's going to be best for you guys. Bedtime at 1 a.m. You like the night shift? Do you like me just jumping about? It's up to you, mate. Is it alright? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. 1 a.m. live stream last night. Late bedtime, and was me. Anyone else in the house party going? Anyone know of any good house parties going? No. What time? I'll do it tomorrow. I'll try and do it tomorrow at 6 o'clock as well. So I'll do it tomorrow at 6 o'clock. And if you haven't watched it, watch the one, the last podcast I did about Tam Laird and the Scottish Libertarian Party. That was quite interesting. 6 o'clock, guys. Love my baby gorillas.